Hey guys, it's your old friend Steve. How's it going? Today I'm going to talk to you about my experiences when I lost weight, and I'm going to share with you some of the lessons that I learned throughout the process. Now, way back when I was about 200 some pounds, well, actually about 240, waist size 44, and at the max I was like 260 pounds, and my waist size was about 46. And I was a little bit big. I wasn't feeling too good about myself. And it got to a point where I really wanted to make a change in my life, and I decided that I wanted to lose weight. Well, the first thing you do, or the first thing you think about when you're trying to lose the weight is, well, I'll have to go on a diet and work out. Reducing the diet was one thing, going to the gym was another, neither of which I had done. So the first thing was to learn more about how I could lose the weight by doing those things. In my case, I was living in an apartment complex that had a gym. I've never gone to it. I had visited and gone around it, but it wasn't until a friend of mine, and I talked to him, and we went over to the gym, and he showed me how to use machines, and that was one thing. He didn't go anymore, but I kept on going every day, learning as I went along. The second thing I did was also learn about how to reduce the portions by going on a diet, and this process took time, and also learning about eating, trying to put more vegetables into my diet and what have you. So going to the gym was a little bit new to me because you have to learn about the machines, learn about different exercises. So I heard about cardio, heard about resistance. So how much of each do I need to do? Do I do them both, or just do one thing? So there's a process that you have to go to establish a routine for yourself, and to basically just see what works, and think to yourself, well, what works and what won't? What's going to get me to that weight loss, or I really want to gain muscle? And those are decisions that you can take as you go along. In my case, I decided that I was going to do both. That I learned that was the most efficient, and that was what I really liked. That's what really made me feel good, is to do a little bit of cardio and do a little bit of weight resistance. As far as learning weight resistance, it's more about, at first at least, was just reading some of the labels that are on the machines and taking it from there. How many, and then you go, okay, so how many repetitions? Well, as many as you can. At first, you do the lightest, and then so there's all sorts of different things. As far as how many repetitions, how many, whether it's at the lightest weight or at the most weight. And that's an ongoing process. There is no one set formula. People think it's a set formula. There is no one set formula. It varies per person. It will vary for you. For me, again, that's just a little bit of both. So when I was, as far as the food is concerned, I started to essentially reduce portions as I went along, little by little. And that process, of course, takes time as well. Sometimes I would push too hard, eat too little, and I get sick or get dazed. And you have to take a rest. So I did reach those points where it was too little food. And after a few months of that, of learning, you start seeing some results. You have to be careful when you're looking at your weight, at your weight scale, because you're going to see fluctuations of about 2 plus or minus 2 pounds when you're weighing yourself, because it's mostly just water, just peeing. You're drinking water, you're peeing water, you're eating food, you're crapping food, and it just fluctuates. You start seeing it. It takes time before you start seeing the body get used to the fact that this is, I don't need all this extra stuff that's around my waist, and just get rid of it. And that takes time, and it takes time before it shows in the numbers, in the weight scale numbers. So after a while, I got down to 180 pounds. Eventually, I was aiming for the 170s. I've gotten as low as 177. I'm 5'10", 5'11" or so. So it's about my ideal weight. I've tried getting to 175, but the problem is I cook real good, and that's just problematic. So that's basically my story. But why do people get fat? Well, at least here in America, we have the problem of that some of our jobs are just basically you have to sit for too long. Food is inexpensive, and food is high in calorie. It's just mostly, and particularly the cheap food is just, and it's just because it's cheap. You don't have to walk anywhere. You don't have to exercise your legs in order to reach public transportation. You can just get in your car and go. And even when you're in your job and you're putting in your 8-9 hours in your job, if you're lucky, most people have to put even more than that. Then you have to do the commute, which is just, sometimes it can be an extra hour each way. So add an extra 2 hours before you get home. And by the time you get home, you're tired. You're not really going to go out and work out, or it might be dark already by the time you get home, and just simply not going to go and exercise or go ride a bike. Most people won't. Some people do, but for the most part, on the average, most people don't. Also there's a psychological thing for just a necessity to get that spark in your brain, and what people do is the way they satisfy is by eating food. It's a therapy for them. It's how they get in some ways it can get your kicks in. That's my story, and you have to look at the reasons as to why you want to lose weight and what you want to, and what you're willing to, I guess, sacrifice. Here's some of the lessons that I learned about losing weight. You can't think of it as something that's temporary. Diet and exercise is something that you'll be doing for the rest of your life. Just doing it for a little bit, and at least that's what a mindset. And this is not about the exercise; it's just about mindset. It's how you feel about it, how you think about it. It's not something you're going to be doing for 6 months, a few months or 6 months. It's something that you should be doing for forever, until you basically expire. Why? Because we are, as human beings, as creatures living on this planet, we are made to walk, and nature has made us so that we gain health. We stay healthy because we're doing things. Sitting down is only a thing we would do to either rest from if we've been burning energy or getting exhausted, or to stay. It's just not natural, and it's been proven that it's something that it is on that. It could be as bad as smoking. As far as starting to exercise, when I started to exercise, it does hurt a little bit if you've never actually done resistance training. It does take time and also it does take time for your heart and your body and your lungs to get adjusted to the higher level of working out. And your muscles are going to hurt a little bit. They always do hurt anyhow, but a lot less later on. But at first, when you start doing it, they hurt a lot. You have to work around a schedule, set up your schedule for yourself. How many times am I going to do it? Which days in the week? How many times am I going to do it? So you can start your routine. And again, coming back to the problem with it being lifestyle, is you can't, if you abandon it one way or another, you may fall back. At least that's my experience with it. I would tend to just fall back into weight gain if I stopped doing it. So mentally and physically, I feel so much better because it's a part of my life, and I just embrace it, and I feel so much better. Second, with the eating portions, one of the best ways to do it is just by using smaller saucer dishes. And you can try that and seeing that, but you have to go gradually. You can't just go from big to very small, because it doesn't work. The body mentally does not work that way. It likes changes, very small changes. You can't do big changes, because that's one of the reasons why weight loss takes so much, is because you have to do the changes very gradually. You can't just go have your portions or eat half of what you do just from one day to the other, because your body's going to be sending signals of you're starving me. What are you doing? And you're going to want to go and eat again. Sometimes even more than what you ate before. As you go along, you probably learn to incorporate more vegetables into your daily routine. You're going to learn about more spinach and tomatoes and celeries and carrots and all this other stuff, and how you can incorporate them into your diet, into your meals. by all means do warm-ups when you exercise, and learn how to take your body to what I call the yellow zone. What the yellow zone is, that part where you're gonna ache a little bit, but you're not gonna hurt yourself. When you're working out, you should never have to, really feel a whole lot of ache. It should be a little bit warm. You should get that, that burn, but you shouldn't really like ache that it hurts. And there's a difference between ache and a pain.